Let's talk some 49ers. You're watching the 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you, and here's what's coming up on the show. A Niners offensive lineman has been suspended by the National Football League, and two interesting defensive players along the defensive line visited the Niners today as part of pre-draft top 30 visits. Before we talk about all of that, be sure to lock us in, hit that subscribe button. If you want the most informative, insightful, entertaining, thought-provoking Niners coverage right here on YouTube, you found your home. We are going to do a live company-wide mock draft here at Chat Sports starting tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific. So join us tomorrow morning for those of you on the West Coast. And as you can see, we are just 309 people away from 160,000 subscribers. So hit that sub button. I promise you, you won't regret it. All right, news from the NFL on this Wednesday, April 16th. The National Football League has suspended Niners offensive lineman Isaac Alarcon 6 games due to violating the NFL's performance-enhancing drug policy. Now, he has never appeared in a regular season game for San Francisco, but he's been a developmental player for this organization, making his way to the NFL as part of the International Pathway Program by way of Mexico. He has never been on the Niners' 53-man roster, a member of the practice squad, and prior to that, member of the Cowboys practice squad from 2020 through 2023, but the Niners did sign him to the 90-man roster this offseason. And I don't think he's ever going to be an NFL player, but he does have really intriguing size, 6'7", 320 pounds from a country that doesn't play football. They play a different sport of football, soccer, not American football. And while he's never appeared in a regular season game, this is a player that the Niners have clearly shown interest in developing because they had him on the team last year during the offseason, training camp, practice squad, in the preseason, and then they made it a point to bring him back as part of this 90-man roster. Now, does this impact San Francisco's 53-man roster? What they could still do in free agency? What they're going to do in the NFL draft? No. And also, this offseason, he will be allowed to participate in all offseason programs. OTAs, minicamp, training camp, and the preseason. But once the regular season gets underway, he cannot play and is not eligible to play for 6 games. As we know, offensive line is a big need for the Niners. Once the season comes around, if they wanted to have him on the practice squad, they can't. So this could hurt their depth to a certain degree. Depth, overall talent, and bringing in starters along the offensive line. A massive priority and need for San Francisco going into next week's NFL draft. The top tackle targets who San Francisco could target in the first couple of rounds, I think Armand Membu, Will Campbell, Calvin Banks for sure are going to go in round 1. Josh Simmons, Josh Connerly, they could go at the end of round 1, maybe round 2 for Armand Membu, my favorite offensive tackle in this class. You turn on the tape over and over again, able to shut down the top edge rushers in the SEC. He's an excellent athlete who ran a 4.9 40-yard dash at well over 330 pounds. And I think that he's a great scheme fit. I think he's great as a pass blocker, run blocker, getting him out in space. He's very comfortable in doing that. Just very agile, being the mountain of a man that he is. For Will Campbell, another excellent athlete, good feet, really good production at LSU, playing in the SEC. I think that he would be a tremendous scheme fit, does have shorter arms. Some people think that he's better as a guard prospect compared to being an offensive tackle prospect, but I think that he can play tackle in this league because he said, yeah, I have short arms, but I can make up for that with my athleticism, with my tape study and technique. Calvin Banks is a player from Texas who would also be a really good scheme fit, and he's huge, loves the game of football, known to be a great character guy and a leader. He's also very comfortable getting out in space on those pull blocks, that second and third level with his run blocking. A long body of work, performing at a high level in the SEC. The issue I have with him, he's on the ground a little bit too much for a player who's his size, and some people also think that he's an interior offensive lineman. For Josh Simmons, he's coming off a patellar tendon injury. That's always a huge concern because that injury is very tricky. And then Josh Connerly, somewhat up and down throughout his career, but the highs were certainly high. in the Big Ten championship game, had some really good reps against Abdul Carter, my number one player in this draft class. Then in the Senior Bowl, a bad rep against Mike Green as he got put on his back and straight up bulldozed. These top tackle targets are more round 2, round 3, round 4 players. Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota, love the size, love the experience, also a really good athlete. I think he's going to go in the second round. Charles Grant out of William and Mary is a player who I'm extremely high on. And he didn't start playing football until his high school junior year. But he has a wrestling background. His technique is really good for a player at a small school level. He has all of the athletic traits to be successful at the next level. The measurables, they're completely there. He was in a run-heavy system at William and Mary, a road grader, and a nasty player with that wrestling background. Anthony Belton is huge. Could take a little while to develop and maybe has to slim down just a bit. Ozzie Trapillo out of Boston College, a good player. And then Chase Lunt, he's just over 300 pounds. Kind of reminds me a little bit body type-wise of Mike McGlinchey. Has a ton of experience at the college level. I think he started more than 40 games. And then my top guard targets, Tyler Booker out of Alabama, Tate Ratledge, Georgia, Jonah Savanea out of Arizona, Miles Frazier, LSU, and Marcus Bow out of Purdue. For all of these players, Booker didn't test well athletically at the combine, and his relative athletic score not good, but I like the mean streak to his game, and at Alabama, he was dominant, just an absolute dog, and the tape was really impressive. Tate Ratledge had the tape and the athleticism. Jonah Savanea, another player who's just huge. Miles Frazier, just a road grading interior offensive lineman. And then Marcus Bow, offensive tackle at Purdue, who I think will be best suited playing guard at the NFL level. What position at number 11 should the Niners go with? Should it be offensive line, defensive line, or a different position? Type O if that's the case. That is today's poll question. So we talked about some draft prospects along the offensive line. Isaac Alarcon getting suspended by the NFL. Coming up, interesting players along the defensive line visiting the Niners today. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our sponsor for today's program, our friends at Game Time, making today's 49ers Report possible. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. You get the best seats at that lowest price. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And the thing with Game Time, they specialize in last-minute tickets. So prices drop as the event gets closer, and you can save up to 60% off going to sporting events, but also concerts, comedy shows, theater events, and a whole lot more. I talk football for a living. Sometimes I need a breather from sports, right? And I like to do that by laughing at a comedy show or taking in some music and going to a concert. All of those types of tickets available on the Game Time app. Golden State Warriors now in the NBA playoffs against the Houston Rockets. I think that's a really good series. The San Francisco Giants off to a really good start. You want to catch a game by McCovey Cove, you can do that as well. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Last-minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. All right, we move forward on today's show. Some really interesting and intriguing defensive line prospects visiting the Niners today as part of their top 30 pre-draft visits. James Pearce, edge rusher out of Tennessee, and Shemar Stewart, edge rusher from Texas A&M. I like Pearce. I'm not as high on Stewart as others are. First, let's talk about James Pearce. Does have some character concerns. I'm friends with some Tennessee people close to the program. They said he wasn't the best teammate. He also got in trouble where he was driving around with an expired license that later got cleaned up. But he is said to have some character concerns. And so people are trying to bring him into their respective buildings across the NFL in the pre-draft process to see if things check out. What checks out? The player that he is. And that's what I'm intrigued by, especially if he's on the board and falls because of those aforementioned issues to the Niners at number 43. 6'5", 245. He is tall, lanky, and lean. With his body frame, he's not going to be able to add a lot more weight than 245, but he's more than just a speed rusher. First-team All-SEC player the last 2 years. explosive get off. He has speed to power. So underrated power for those weight concerns. I think that he can really turn the corner in an impressive way. He's an instinctive player who's good against the run and as a pass rusher. And I think that the twitch and the length translates to the next level. Does he have to get stronger? No doubt about it. But what he did the past 2 years was very impressive. In 2024, 13 TFL, 7.5 sacks, 55 pressures. That is the straight-up ability right there to collapse the pocket and put pressure on the quarterback. And then in 2023, double-digit sacks with 10 to go alongside 52 pressures. And the TFL numbers, good once again with 15 of them. Little bit too early to take him at number 11 in my estimation. And with everything that I've kind of put together as far as my pre-draft notes and my evaluations up to this point, but man, if he's available at number 43, you can count me very interested and intrigued. As far as Shemar Stewart, it's so funny. I put out a video yesterday on the YouTube Shorts page, and I tweeted this out, that the San Francisco 49ers should not draft Shemar Stewart with the 11th overall pick. He's a fantastic athlete, but is he a good football player? He might be 6'5" and 267, where he ran a sub-4.6 40-yard dash. He's explosive. He's fast. He's powerful. He's physical. But where is the production for a player who's that freakishly athletic? 1.5 sacks in each of the last 3 years. The TFL numbers, not good. And on 680 pass rush snaps, he has 4.5 sacks and a missed tackle rate of 26.9%. We see these types of freakish athletes all the time, ladies and gentlemen. And they don't pan out at the next level because they're not good enough football players. We see athletes across the NFL all the time. Every player who makes it to the NFL is a good athlete. And I like the athleticism. I like the motor. But the Niners should not take him at number 11. I need to see better production. Now, if you're looking for some pluses on top of the size and what he ran, he was a former 5-star recruit, so in high school, he was highly touted. He does have balance, fluidity. He is explosive, long arms, natural power. His nickname, The Menace. He plays like it, a great motor, and I love that from him. But I just hate the lack of production here. Some people have pointed to the scheme usage as being a concern at Texas A&M, where I think they may have used him as like a 4-tech, and in the wide 9 where he can pin his ears back. That better suits him as a player. But look, I don't really care about the scheme. When you are that good and you're playing in college against players who aren't going to play at the next level all the time, right? How do you only have 1.5 sacks in each of your last 3 years? And in your college career, with 37 games played, you have 4.5 sacks. 79 pressures, I'll take that. He had 39 pressures in 2024, 26 in 2023, 14 in 2022. All of that is good. But can you finish? Collapsing the pocket, he has some skill there because of the athleticism. But I need you to finish. And as far as sacking the quarterback and tackling with that missed tackle rate, didn't do that at an elite level. The hope from a lot of people is that the wide 9 could unlock him. But I would hate the pick if the Niners go this route at number 11. I need to see a more proven ball player going to the Niners at number 11 because that player needs to have an impact in 2025 and, of course, beyond that. Be sure to give me a follow on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior, approaching 16,000 followers here, 37,000 followers here. I put out so much Niners content on those pages, so check it out and give me a follow.